Hello and welcome back to Boss United FM. It's another Football Manager experiment video. This time we've moved Boss United manager Craig Elliott to become the manager of England at the start of the game. Alongside him we've brought in his long-time assistant manager Lee Stratford, a goalkeeping coach, Boss United legend Paul Bastock, fitness coach we've brought in Jordan Fairclough, who is the current fitness coach at Liverpool. Graeme Jones, former Belgium assistant manager, is now a coach in the England setup, alongside Simon Weatherstone, former Boss United midfielder. Physio Lee Taylor, who used to be the physio at Boss United in the Football League, has been brought in into the medical department. Brighton manager Graeme Potter, a former Pilgrim himself, has been given the task of managing the under-21s, with Simon Rusk, who is a member of the coaching staff at Brighton, alongside Graeme Potter, is taking over the under-20s. Lee Thompson is going to manage the under-19s. Can we see how the former Pilgrims get on in the England setup, starting with Euro 2020? First of all, let's look at the squad that Craig Elliott has chosen for Euro 2020. Three goalkeepers: Pickford, Pope and Henderson, no surprises there. In defence, Harry Maguire, John Stones, Chris Smalling and Joe Gomez. Fullbacks, on the right hand side he's gone for Tomori and Alexander Arnold, and on the left he's got Chilwell and Danny Rose. In the midfield, Jordan Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mount, Foden gets in there, James Maddison, Dele Alli. Options on the wing, he's gone for Sterling, Rashford, but up top there's Kane, Abraham, Calvert-Lewin and Callum Wilson. Let's have a look who they've got to face in the group stages. It's Norway, Serbia and Scotland. Let's zoom through to the end of the group stage. Okay, looks like a safe passage through the group stages there. 3 victories out of 3, beating Norway by 3-0. Ali, Rashford and Kane scoring the goals. Serbia dispatched 2-1, Dele Alli getting both. And then Scotland, the old enemy, 3-1, Kane, Chilwell and Maguire. All matches taking place at Wembley. They've now got to get past Poland, being played at the Aviva Stadium in Ireland, in the second round. And there we have it, utter failure to get past Poland, losing by 2-0. Linetti and Milik scoring the goals. Looking at the ratings, Pickford didn't have a good game. Everybody else seemed to do okay, apart from Oxlade-Chamberlain. Let's have a look at the match. So a little bit of a tight game, but overall Poland coming out on top. Lewandowski got an assist, but that's it. End of the road for England in the European Championships. And Craig Elliott, his job is now insecure with England. Will he keep it? Let's holiday some more and find out. Okay, it looks like Craig Elliott's going to keep his job, as looking in the available jobs now, there are a few from the European Championships where they've disposed of their managers. Switzerland, Belgium, Holland, Italy, France and Spain, which is interesting about France because France actually won the European Championships. So Didier Deschamps has decided to resign after doing so. Right, let's zoom forward some more to the end of the qualifiers for the next World Cup and see if Craig Elliott can keep his job. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the year. So in the European Nations League, not a great time held by England. Couple of victories in there, but losses to both Croatia and Spain at home. Unbeaten away from home, but it's the home games which you would assume didn't see them progress. So we go into 2021, almost perfect record there in World Cup qualifiers, just the Finland home game where they gave away a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2. As they qualify for the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. A couple of friendlies to start the year. Then playing in the Nations League again with Portugal, Germany and Norway, as England won the group and will progress through to the finals. A couple of friendlies in preparation for the World Cup where they face Japan, Portugal and Egypt. You would assume that England and Portugal will be fighting for number 1 spot in the group, but Japan might have something to say about that. Let's have a look at the squad that England have chosen. Butland, Pickford and Max O'Leary are the goalkeepers. Fullbacks Wan-Bissaka and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Chilwell and Brandon Williams. Defenders, you've got John Stones, Tomori now getting his centre-back role. Rob Holding in there, Joe Gomez. Central midfielder, you've got Jordan Henderson, Declan Rice, Ronaldo Vieira, Mason Mount, Phil Foden. And then in the attacking roles, you've got Sterling, Sancho, Ali, Kane, Abraham, Rashford and Wilson. Right, let's holiday forward to the end of the group stage and see how England get on. There we go, a solid World Cup group stage for England. Beating Japan 2-0. Foden and Sancho getting the goals. Draw with Portugal 0-0. And then beating Egypt in the final group game 1-0 to finish second in the group. However, in the second round they will face Spain. Let's go forward and see how they get on. Well, England get through against Spain. After extra time, let's have a look at the details. So Harry Kane giving England the lead in the second half of a penalty. Sergio Ramos equalising in stoppage time with another penalty. Rashford and Abraham giving England a 2-goal lead. Jose Gaya then pulling one back, but England held on and will face Mexico or Croatia in the quarter-final. Let's carry on moving forward. Okay, it's Mexico that they face in the quarter-final in Qatar. And England progress on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Quite a long shootout it looks like, and Italy awaiting the semi-finals. But unfortunately England fail and lose 1-0 to a Ciro Immobile winner for Italy. Holland to play in a third place playoff, but nobody wants to play in that. Let's just for completeness, let's see how they get on. And there we have it, England finished third in the World Cup, beating Holland in that playoff. Goals from Sterling, Holding and Ali. Is that enough for Craig Elliott to stay in the job? He's still there at the moment. Let's just check. There are some vacancies at international level, so it does look like Elliott has kept his position as England manager. Let's see if he can build on this in the next Euros. Okay, we're moving to 2023. Let's have a look at how the Nations League finals went. And England lost to Spain in the semis, but then beat Holland in the third place playoff. Moving into the European Championship qualifiers, unfortunately the loss away to Wales by 1-0. But then as we go through, they have qualified for the European Championships, and they are going to be facing Sweden, Iceland and Germany. Bit of a grudge match against Germany in that final group game. Let's see how they get on. Well, it looks like a qualification out of the groups. Draw with Sweden to start with, and then beating Iceland and Germany. Against Sweden, Dele Alli scored. Then in the Iceland match, it was Mason Mount and Marcus Rashford. And in the all-important Germany clash, Dele Alli and Jadon Sancho. Let's see if we can find out who they're going to play in the next round. Well, England faced Wales in the second round, beating them 3-2. Rashford, Greenwood and Reece Nelson getting the goals. And in the next round, they'll be facing Scotland. And England march on. 3-0 victory against Scotland. Rashford with a couple, Sancho with the other. On to Spain in the semi-finals. Another victory for England. 1-0 against Spain in the European Championship semi-final. Jadon Sancho scoring with just 12 minutes to go. Can they beat Italy in the final? But it all ends there. Penalties decide it. and Italy win the European Championships. Jorginho missing for Italy, but both John Stones and Mason Greenwood missing for England. Is Elliott still in a job? Let's take a look. Yes, he is. He's still there. We now need to move forward and see whether he will make the next World Cup. Another almost perfect qualifying section for England. A 2-2 draw away at Denmark, the only blemish, which was a pretty close game in the end there. Let's have a look at the World Cup. With the expanded World Cup, there's only 3 teams in a group, so they've only got Jamaica and Uzbekistan to get through. I think what we'll do now, we'll just holiday through to the end of the World Cup and see what happens. We've come to the end of the World Cup, and England have been knocked out in the quarter-finals by Belgium. Did beat Jamaica and Uzbekistan in the World Cup group stage, then beating Switzerland in the second round, and absolutely demolishing Holland 6-2 in the third round. With goals from Chris Tipple, must be a regen, Bukayo Saka, Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane. But then succumbing to Belgium with a couple of goals in that game. If we have a look in the World Cup, we'll just check to see who's won it. If we skip forward to the final, and Belgium lost in the final to Brazil. Lukaku getting a consolation for Belgium, but Vinicius Jr. scoring pretty much the clinching goal in the 75th minute. However, we have some news. Craig Elliott has quit as manager of England. Many years in the job. Let's just have a look. So, having taken over July 2019, he has lasted a good 7 years. No major championship wins, but he did get a runners-up medal in the Euros. Who's going to take over from him? Shall we holiday a little bit more and see who takes over? And maybe Craig Elliott might get himself a club job. Is he worth a job in the Premier League? Let's find out. Well, we have some news. Unai Emery has taken over as manager of England. Let's just have a look and see where he's been in the game. Having left Arsenal in 2019, he did then take over at Aston Villa, but not until December 2021, and has now taken over with England. Has he won any competitions with Aston Villa? If we scroll through, so we've got a 17th place finish, a 10th place finish, and a 12th place finish. Then an 11th place and an 8th place. So he's gradually getting Aston Villa better. But is that enough to take over as England? Still waiting for some news on Craig Elliott's new job. Well, Craig Elliott has found himself a job with Bournemouth in the Premier League. We're now at the end of the season. Where have they finished? And unfortunately couldn't keep them up. Goal difference from Newcastle, sending them down. Oh dear, when did he take over? Let's have a look. He took over in December, just before Christmas, 21st of December. If we take a look at the results since then, so we started off pretty well with a draw and a victory, getting through in the FA Cup, but then losing to Aston Villa. A good March, winning all 3 games, but then just 2 victories from the last few games. Actually winning on the last day of the season. So how did Newcastle get on that last day? If we look, the Newcastle lost, so unfortunately they were pretty much down going into the last day. But there we have it. Craig Elliott lasts 7 years as England manager, then resigns. Didn't get sacked. No championship wins, but we had a runners-up medal. And then he takes over at Bournemouth in the Premier League, but can't keep them up. If you're enjoying this kind of content, please leave a like on this video. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.